Dillon, driver of number 13, Geico Military Chevrolet, and Ty. I'm sure coming to Charlotte Motor Speedway is always a special place for you. You've lived close here to the Charlotte area, and then also most likely grew up coming here a lot in your childhood. Any favorite memories when you come to Charlotte?
Man, I haven't missed very many races here since 1992, and I didn't make that happen.
You did not.
It was mind games. Since I was a baby, pretty much. My grandfather's got a condo in Turn 1, and ever since I remember, I've watched every single race, whether it was Xfinity, Trucks, Cup, that has been on this racetrack, even watched the IndyCar race back in the day. It's definitely a special place for us. There's a lot of memories here. This is also where I made my first racing start in the Bandolero and Legend Cars. Actually, our first test was on the little 5th mile behind the track, like a lot of others, I'm sure. Ryan Blaney and Bubba Wallace. We all raced here every single weekend against each other growing up. So this place is special to a lot of us drivers that are from North Carolina, which is kind of a funny thing about NASCAR is everybody lives in North Carolina, but there's only a few actually in the Cup Series that are born and raised in North Carolina. So Charlotte is a very, very special place to us.
All right. We'll go ahead and take questions for Ty. If you have one, please raise your hand and state your name and affiliation, and we'll get the mic, and we'll start with Jacob in the back.
Jacob Seelman, Performance Motorsports Network. Ty, you kind of alluded to it, getting your start here in the Legends Cars and Bandoleros. Back when you were first starting out here and running the little short tracks, at that point, I know the dream is there, but did you think this soon you'd be coming back as a full-time Cup driver, as a Cup rookie, racing on the big track?
It was definitely a goal of mine when I started, and I never let it be anything else. I remember sitting out there waiting on a Legend Car race to be over on the quarter mile here on the front stretch, and they would park the Bandoleros on the entry to Turn 1, and you'd circle around and come on the track. I'm sure they still do it now. And looking down into Turn 1, like, man, one day I'm going to be going around there one day. And so when I got that opportunity the first time in the truck was really cool to kind of go back and cash in that memory. So this place is very, very special to me. And having those memories as a kid, thinking about one day this is what I want to be doing, and makes it surreal now.
All right, we'll go to Zach and then Kelly.
Zach Albert, NASCAR.com. Ty, you've done double duty just about every weekend this year. Was that a conscious decision, at the outset of the year to try to build up some more experience, and how much has it helped?
It's helped a ton. It was something I wanted to do, even before I even had a contract to race in the Monster Energy Cup Series. I knew I wanted to be a guy like Kevin Harvick and Kyle Busch that ran both series and, was able to win races in both, and still working on getting back into victory lane. We've been pretty competitive. We've been changing up a lot of things in our Xfinity program to try to get back on pace. We've been off the last couple of years as a whole. So hopefully we can get back to that. It's definitely helped having the Cup experience and coming back to the Xfinity program to help build that program. And it's also helped to get laps for the next day, being a rookie at a lot of these racetracks. So the first racetrack that I haven't ran double duty this year was Kansas last week. And I was sitting around doing nothing, and I was like, my body's not used to this. I need to get back and be doing double duty. So I look forward to next weekend where we get back in the Xfinity car and have a good shot at winning there.
All right. We have Kelly, Lee, Kenny, Chris. Go ahead.
Kelly Crandall, Racer.com. Ty, you had said early in the season when I talked to you about this rookie battle that you really think, just in general, that your team is set up to kind of surprise a lot of people this year just with the overall performance of Germain Racing. Do you think so far, it's early, it's only May, but do you think that you're going in the right direction to make that happen?
I think so. First of all, I want to say thank you. You're the one every time you tweet the rookie standings, you're the one I look for. So it's you're the one keeping me in the know of where we're at in the rookie point. So I appreciate that. It's kind of a difficult thing to follow. I think so. You just look at our year. We have improved every time we've hit the racetrack. And I know at the beginning of this year, when I talked to a lot of you guys at media day, I told you that's our main goal is every time we hit the racetrack to get a little bit better. We've definitely done that. We started off getting a bad finish in Daytona, but we ran pretty well and pretty strong all day. But ever since then, we've gotten better. You look at our race at Richmond, we cashed in some segment points, ran inside the top 10, probably a racetrack that nobody expected us to be inside the top 10, racing the guys that we were racing, got caught up on pit road in a crash. And then we come back next week. We weren't a very fast race car, but we did the things that we needed to do to get a top 15. And we've had solid finishes. We're sitting second in the rookie points and sitting in a good place to get the job done at the end of the year. We're there. I think people are, like I said at the beginning of the year, are going to underestimate us a little bit, but we're competing and beating a lot of these teams that have a lot more resources right at their fingertips. We have a great relationship with RCR and our technical alliance, but Booty and all the guys at Germain Racing are working their tails off to put me in a position to go out and compete for this Rookie of the Year championship.
All right, Lee, go ahead.
Lee Spencer, Motorsport.com. Since you've always been under your family's banner, what's it been like acclimating to an independent?
Yeah, it's been different, but my owner and Bob Germain and the whole race team, it's been like a family. I feel like I really haven't left that family feeling of RCR and just halfway through, not even halfway through the first season with these guys, I feel so comfortable. I mean, the guys are great. They're all motivated. They're all happy. We're having a great time racing, and that's what it's about for all of us. If you're not having fun going the racetrack, you're not going to run well, and we're all having fun, and we're running pretty well right now. So it's been a great transition going to a different team, which is hard for me. The only thing I've known my whole life is RCR. So I still get to do that on occasions on Saturday and be a part of it. And we also have our meetings every week with RCR every Monday, our technical partners, and everybody calls in. Still very involved in everything going on at RCR, but it is different. And, sometimes it's better to be a little bit separated and to be able to look outside in to, the race team that I've known my whole family or my whole life.
And how do you expect to balance being a new father and a rookie in the Cup Series?
Yeah, luckily our due date isn't until November 29th. My wife is awesome, so I'll be taking care of her up into that and preparing to be a new father. And as long as she comes, oh, by the way, it's a girl. I just spilled the beans, I guess, but we're having a little girl. We found out, so we're very excited and be the first little Dillon girl. So we're very excited for that. But as long as she comes right around when she's supposed to be and not too early, we'll get through Homestead, and I'll be home to be there with Haley. And it's nice that it's kind of right as the off-season starts. We'll have a couple months to go through those pains that everybody talks about with a newborn. And I know it's going to be hard, but I'm looking forward to going through that because it's what life's really about. I mean, we're out here racing cars and very blessed to be able to do so. But for me, being able to raise a child's probably the ultimate thing that I look forward to in my life.
All right, Kenny, go ahead.
Kenny Bruce with NASCAR.com. Ty, you talked about how helpful it was to be able to run double duty, but being as it's your first season in Cup, has it ever been an issue trying to balance both of those on the same weekend? And what's been the most difficult part of that adjustment for you?
I think the most difficult part is my schedule. It's been really, really tough because I'm so obligated to the Cup Series, obviously, but to keep the Xfinity program growing and have those opportunities, you're still obligated to all your sponsors over there. And then as a rookie and as a young guy in this sport, you've got to put yourself in so many situations to keep your name in the media and keep your name booming as a young and up-and-coming driver. So balancing all that on top of racing 2 races a weekend, being in the car 7-8 hours, before you even get to the racing, is tough. But it's something that I'm learning and getting better at, and it's something you got to adapt your body to, your way of life to, for sure. You got to give yourself some time to recover. It's definitely the hardest thing I've had to do yet, but also the most beneficial thing for my career so far.
All right. Any final questions for Ty? Okay, go ahead. We can get a microphone. Thank you.
Ty, Ben White with Lexington Dispatch. Just a quick question for you about Kentucky Motor Speedway. When you describe that racetrack, can you give me a word that describes it, and then how do you do there?
Heartbroken. I don't know how I've led so many laps there and haven't gotten to victory lane in the Xfinity series and led so many laps down to 5 to go or green, white, checkered. We've been extremely fast there. RCR is always a team that we bring fast race cars to Kentucky for whatever reason. We're always good there. It's always been a place we've been successful. So I love it. I got a little bit of a love-hate relationship. Maybe this year will be our year. I look forward to going there with a cup car, I think for the second time in my career, and having a good shot at really putting together a good finish. And I think right now our focus is kind of going back to our expectations on this rookie year. Is we had expectations to just finish on the lead lap this first half of the year and get good finish race, but now it's time for us to change our expectations to run inside the top 15 and run inside the top 10, get some segment points. We start doing that, and then we start setting our eyes on making the chase.
All right, and Ty, before we let you leave, I know you'll have the opportunity to compete in the Open, but what would it mean to advance into the All-Star race tomorrow night?
It means everything, because that means I'm an all-star in this sport when you make it in that race. I think that's something that's overlooked a little bit. This is our all-star event, and the drivers that are in it are all-stars of our sport. So I think that's something that we could do a better job of publicizing a little more. I mean, the event is awesome. It's super fun. But the fact is it's all-star event. Everybody watches the MLB all-star game. Everybody watches the NBA all-star game because of the all-stars. So I think, being a part of that race and knowing that this year, if I make it in, I'm an all-star in the Cup Series in my rookie year, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, thanks for joining us today, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend.